Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about the differences between homes in Portugal and in Norway. So comparing both of them and talking about like what exists in one country and doesn't exist in the other and vice versa. If you don't know this already, I am Portuguese, but I'm living in Norway, in Oslo since 2014. So of course I noticed differences in the homes and in the houses in general from Portugal to Norway, and that's what I'm going to talk with you today. I am also an architect, so this gives me a little bit of an advantage in noticing what is different, I guess. I'm going to start with the exterior of the houses and talk about firstly about the facades. So in Portugal you will find mostly brick houses, some concrete houses as well, and then painted with white, yellow, sometimes like more pinkish or bluish colors, but I think in general is white. Whilst in Norway most facades are made in wood, and this wood can be treated to look like natural wood or it can be painted over. Normally it's either white, red or blue, if I'm not mistaken. And I've heard that the color means different things in Norway, and it was mostly used in like agricultural land at the beginning. So the white house would be the house where you lived in, because white was the more expensive color, and then the red house would be where the cattle is, or like the more poor houses would be in red or blue, which are not so expensive colors like white was back in the days. So all the Norwegians watching this video, let me know if this is true or if there is more to the story in the comments, because I would love to know. Another big difference I noticed in the exterior of a home, it's that in Portugal you always have a fence, either a wall or like a fence, but it's normally big and has like a gate, so you cannot go into the house, into the property easily. Whilst, oh my god, okay, the sun has suddenly come out, so I'm sorry about the light issues. What was I saying? The fences, yeah. So for me there was definitely a difference, that in Portugal people have these fences to make it difficult for people to see into their homes or go into their homes, also as like a security measure. Whilst in Norway there's no fence, it's either open or it is like a very translucent open fence where you can see everything in, and it's not like safe at all, like anyone could jump over, or many times there's not even a gate here in Norway. Like as a security thing, it's strange for me. Comment down below if in your home, in your house, if you do have a house, you have a fence or not. Now if we talk about the inside of the home and the habits, the biggest difference, and I've talked about this in many other videos, is that in Portugal you do not take your shoes off, and in Norway you have to take your shoes off. In Portugal, maybe if you're in your own house and if it's like a close family, you can take the shoes off and wear like slippers inside. But if you're like visiting someone else, if the house is not yours, you never take your shoes off. Ever. I've never seen that happening. Whilst in Norway, you are obligated to take your shoes off. Many times at the entrance, you have like a place for putting your shoes, and then you walk without shoes inside. So Norwegians do not like to bring shoes from outside inside. The next thing has to be the bedroom size. So in Portugal, most bedrooms are huge, okay? They are gigantic. Even if it's a secondary bedroom, it's normally quite big. Whilst in Norway, everything is very small. This room I'm in right now, I think it's quite a normal size for Portugal, but this is not normal. Every time we have visits come into our apartment, they were like, whoa, you have a huge bedroom, you know? This is definitely not normal. And if you have a secondary bedroom like we do, there's space for like a single bed and a tiny little closet. not more. especially in the city centers, I would say. I'm not sure how it is like outside Oslo in smaller towns. Maybe houses are a little bit bigger and have bigger bedrooms, but in Oslo region at least, bedrooms are very small. And I, as an architect, I have to draw bedrooms. I work mostly with schools, but I have drawn like housing buildings, and they ask us to draw the minimum sizes for the secondary bedrooms all the time. So it's definitely a thing in Norway. The next difference I noticed is regarding to the kitchen area. So in Portugal, the most common thing would be having a room for the kitchen and a separate room for the living room. And sometimes you even have a separate room for the dining room. Whilst in Norway, I would say the most common is to have a kitchenette, so an open kitchen to the living room. In terms of socializing, I think it's better if you're in the kitchen, you're not like cooking alone, closed in a different room while everybody else is in the living room. You're like socializing with people while you are cooking. Whilst in Portugal, I think, I don't know, people are concerned about the smell when they cook. They don't want the smell to go to the living room space. Of course, there's like open kitchens in Portugal too, and there are separate kitchens in Norway. I have a separate kitchen in this apartment, mostly due to the apartment being like older. I think newest apartments always have an open kitchen. The next thing is about the floor. So your home floors. I would say that 98% of floors in Norway are wooden floors, and they are heated, especially in the bathroom. So the floor is heated, it gets warm, you can change the temperature of the floor. Whilst in Portugal, I would say that 80% of the floors are stone or some kind of tile. And they are not heated. I have never seen a heated floor in Portugal, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this difference, it's mainly due to the weather. So in Norway, I think people prefer more warmer, cozy materials, whilst in Portugal, it's nice when it's so hot in summer to have a cold floor. Even like in Norway, when you're choosing a tile for a bathroom, they would go probably with the one that it's not glazed. It's a little bit more like rough. Whilst in Portugal, you'll go for the glazed feeling, you know, like the shiny glazed feeling. This brings me to a massive difference. That's the temperature inside the houses. I've also talked about this in other videos, but basically in Portugal, inside a home is quite cold, even in winter. In summer is really nice because outside is really hot, and you come into your house and it's like fresh and nice. But during winter it can be freezing cold, and people use this like old heaters with wheels that you bring with you wherever you are. Whilst in Norway, it's so warm inside. In winter, it could be freezing outside, like -degrees outside, and you come in, even like in the building entrance, if you're living in a building, like in a block apartment, it would be warm, you know? So it's this really nice feeling that it's like -20 outside, but inside you're wearing a t-shirt. Another big difference related with bathrooms or toilets, it's that in Portugal we have something called bidet, which is how do I explain what a bidet is? I'm sure you guys know what a bidet is, but it's like a place for you to wash your private parts. I used to use it a lot when I lived in Portugal. I think it's really handy. I've heard that nowadays, with like the younger generation, there's not so many people that put bidets in the bathroom anymore. But I think if I would build a house in Portugal, I would have a bidet. Whilst in Norway, I have never ever seen a bidet here. Another big difference I noticed is how common bathtubs are. In Norway, they are not common at all. Especially if you're living in an apartment, you would rarely find a bathtub. That's why I'm so glad that in this apartment we have one, because I could not live without a bathtub. Whilst in Portugal, everyone has a bathtub. Another big difference is regarding the washing machine, so the one you use to wash your clothes. In Norway, they are normally inside the bathroom, and in Portugal, they are normally in the kitchen. Of course, this is if you do not have like a laundry room, which you can have both in Portugal and Norway. But if you don't have one, in Portugal you would have it in the kitchen, and in Norway you would have it in the bathroom. There's also something I have never seen in Portugal. I'm not sure if this exists or not. If you live like in big cities, in building apartments in Portugal and you have this, please tell me in the comments below. But it's a common laundry room. This happens a lot in Oslo, in the city center, where you have a building with a lot of apartments, and the people who live in the apartment can choose to have or not a washing machine in their own apartment, or they can use the common laundry room in the basement. We have one of these in our building, so we do not have like a clothes washing machine in the apartment. We use the one downstairs, and to use it, in our case, you have to put 10 kroner, and that gives you 1 hour to wash. You also have to book the time and day, so a date to wash your clothes, so no one else is using the machine at the same time as you are. Another thing that I think is quite different in both countries is the way that you use your bed sheets in the bed. So in Norway, you would have 2 separate bed sheets, whilst in Portugal you have like a double one for both people sleeping in the same bed. So you would share a bed sheet, and in Norway you have your own bed sheet. Another thing that is a little bit different, but it's not like that different, but I need to say it, is that in Portugal, if you want a coffee machine, you would probably have an espresso machine, whilst in Norway you would probably have a mocha master, which is such a famous machine to have here in Norway. I think everyone has one of those. If you're really Norwegian, you would have one of these, which makes like really more like an American style kind of coffee, you know, more liquid, more quantity, not an espresso one. And those are some of the things I think are very different in home, in house, between Oslo and Norway. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a massive thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, because we're almost reaching the 30,000 subscriber mile. So come on, help me out. And if you remember more things that are like super different between the 2 countries, or between one of those countries and your own country, please comment down below. You know, I always love to read your comments. And yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!